Hey everyone, it is Kevin Henry. I'm the Director of Marketing for Fortune Management and honored today to be joined by one of our executive coaches, and that is Carrie King. Carrie, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I am good, thank you, and also glad to be joined by RevenueWell's partner and sales manager, and that is Jeff White. Jeff, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Kevin. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, it's glad to have you both on. And one of the reasons I wanted to have Carrie and Jeff on is to talk a little bit about the relationship that Carrie has nurtured with RevenueWell for her Fortune clients and how that's benefited those clients. So, Carrie, I just got to ask you, how did you kind of take this relationship on and explain the benefit of it to your clients?
Well, I met Jeff actually at a conference, an ADOM conference, the American Association of Dental Office Managers, and sat through a RevenueWell course, and Jeff delivered part of that. So it kind of, some things triggered some things with clients that were listening to that course. So I went up to him afterwards and we talked probably a good 2 hours and decided that it would be beneficial to introduce Jeff directly to some of our clients. And eventually he came down in person and delivered some hands-on training, which has made a huge impact for our clients.
And Jeff, I know a lot of our coaches are familiar with RevenueWell, but would you mind just giving an overview of what RevenueWell is and how you all view your relationship with Fortune?
Yeah, absolutely. So RevenueWell is a patient communication platform that allows dental practices to communicate with their patients that are in their practice management system throughout the entire patient journey. So whether it's welcoming a patient to the practice, to following up on an unscheduled treatment plan, to as simple as sending a birthday card reminder, we know exactly who patients are and where they are within that journey and what to send them that actually relates to their oral health. And we've expanded our product so much over the years, teledentistry for some COVID combat tools, internal marketing and SMS texting campaigns, social media automation. So there's so much. So to kind of label as just this one platform has really kind of grown to a really giant ecosystem. But yeah, our relationship with Fortune Management is a strategic alliance. We see Fortune as some of the best coaches out there in the marketplace that our practices can hire. And we wanted to get in line with that and, just help with them growing their business within their communities, as well as, extending or welcoming our brand into the community as well. So Fortune's been a really great partner for us.
And Jeff, when an executive coach like Carrie gets in touch with you to make that introduction, what's the next step on RevenueWell side? How do you all work with clients and coaches to make sure it's a very smooth operation?
Yeah, I think it just depends on the relationship with the coach. Some coaches really want to be involved with the early, demo experience, so kind of being there and participating in the demo. It gives them an opportunity to learn more about the product as well. But then there's coaches that will hand off the opportunity to me. I'll schedule the opportunity for them and perform the demo, and just keep them updated throughout the process. So it really depends on the relationship and what expectations the Fortune coach has set with me that they expect to achieve with us. So yeah, it really just depends.
Okay. And Carrie, I know as an executive coach, you're kind of that trusted business advisor for your clients. So talk about the importance of bringing in trusted partners like RevenueWell, someone that you have faith in, and kind of incorporating that into your mixed off your clients.
Exactly that. It's built around trust, and I know, for instance, my relationship with Jeff. Whenever I have a question or I'm trying to help a client solve a problem, I know Jeff is going to respond. If not on the spot, at least within a few hours. And so we have that trust part of it there. And I know they're in good hands, and the clients see that too. And in fact, just last week, we had an instance of, I was coaching a client in a workshop. We had a RevenueWell dilemma, and we got Jeff on the phone within a couple of hours and it was solved. So just knowing that he's there and that they understand and feel that, versus sitting there trying to do it through chat or calling an 800 number.
And I know that some clients, technology is still, pieces of it are still a little frightening, but to have that relationship, it sounds like is really a way to bridge some of that fear of incorporating something new into the practice as well.
100%, 100%. We see that across the board with most technology. They only implement a small percentage of what that can do for them. And so the more we can talk about it and have people like Jeff and RevenueWell in front of these clients, educating them, the more they're going to utilize it and the more successful they're going to be.
And Jeff, I have a feeling that RevenueWell usage is kind of like practice management software usage. They use a small portion of it whenever they put something in. How do you kind of help expand those boundaries and help them understand the power that they really have with the RevenueWell product?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of it starts with the people and understanding what motivates them and what kind of drives their behavior. So a lot of the times we'll have conversations with practices on what could be, what could your day look like? What could your practice revenue look like? What is your patient experience? What could it look like? And then you take those and you have those conversations, and it's really dedicating a process to those people to help them kind of ease into the adoption of the product. RevenueWell is an extension of the practice. The practice isn't an extension of RevenueWell. So it's really important to understand, what makes them tick and think and motivates them, and then kind of easing them into some of the bigger items. So an example could be if they really want to get into unscheduled treatment plan follow-ups. Well, we want to understand, where's the problem today? Why do you have an issue with unscheduled treatment plans? Okay, what's your process for doing that? Right? What does that weigh on you? Okay, let's find a way to shape the system to your needs. And I think if you can take the time and really dissect, what their ideal outcome is, and who is a part of that, outcome process, then we can create milestones along the way to make sure that we hit that hopefully that expected outcome. So.
And Carrie, one thing I want to ask you is, obviously it's important the doctor is comfortable with it, but we know the team has to be comfortable with it as well. And what kind of messaging do you have anytime that you're going to bring in a RevenueWell or a partner like this, that it's good for the entire team?
Oftentimes we can give them examples of what the system's different parts of their system can do for each team member, and ultimately what it does for the practice as far as efficiency. That's the biggest one for me, is the efficiency that it brings. And I feel like it makes a lot of the jobs more enjoyable, quite honestly. So I think if we can lay out those examples when we're talking to the doctor, and then an introduction call always helps. I like to get the doctor on the phone with somebody from RevenueWell and have the three of us have a conversation.
And Jeff, I'll ask you a similar question. How important from your vantage point is it to have that team on board just as much as the doctor?
Oh, I mean, it's the team drives it, right? I mean, you take an F1 racer, he could be the best racer, but if he's got a bad pit crew, then what good is his next lap? So I think with any team, it's really being RevenueWell, patient driven. It's a culture. You have to be. It's a team effort to make these tools successful. And if you're going to invest in them, you need to invest in the time and resources it takes to make sure the system is optimized. And I think sometimes it's hard for physicians to implement something and to manage it with everything else that they manage. As we know, they're not business kind of challenges them sometimes, and some better than others, but we want them to implement RevenueWell and be engaged, and that could be just setting up a success story type of mentality each morning. It's like, all right, who's going to own RevenueWell today, right? Who's running the morning report? Who's reaching out to unscheduled patients? And even making a collaborative effort. What type of campaigns do you guys think we should run? Having that conversation. It could all start in the morning huddle, and then just figuring out who's going to own it, and then actually setting some KPIs around it and looking back and celebrate those, right? Okay. So I think it's got to be RevenueWell centric, but team centric as well. And that's with any solution.
Oh, that's true. Absolutely. So one last question for each of you. Carrie, I'll start with you. What's one thing that you really want other Fortune coaches to know about working with RevenueWell, and maybe why they should introduce them a little more to their clients?
I think just taking an active interest in what RevenueWell actually does for the practice, and nurturing that relationship between the two. If that's what it takes to see the impact or the outcome of the practice, then why not? That's it. It's that simple.
There you go. I like it. And Jeff, last one for you. Hey, how does somebody get a hold of you, and what are kind of the next steps if a fortune coach wants to introduce a client to you and talk about things?
Yeah, I would even say before you bring a client to me, if I haven't met you guys already, reach out to me at my email address, which is jwhite@revenuewell.com. Or you can call or text me anytime. That's 224-355-9263. And let's have a conversation. Let's figure out, what are your goals and the goals within your practices, and see what we can do to actually help achieve them together. And, set some, set the bar. What do you expect in a partnership? Because I think now more than ever, you hear that term a lot, right? Partnerships, but it's a shared risk and reward. And I want to make sure that I'm aligned with what you're investing in, and that you have a resource so that you can feel confident bringing practices to RevenueWell and knowing that they're going to be taken care of.
Well, we're certainly glad for that partnership between Fortune Management and RevenueWell, and we've certainly wanted to highlight that today. And Carrie, Jeff, thank you both so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Jeff.